Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, I only watched the first drive for the Bears. Didn't go as I hoped. It went as I thought, but not as I hoped. I thought they did a great job of using scheme to make things easy, and Caleb did a good job of getting the ball accurately on time to the exact right person. So there's always next time, I guess, where we can hope that he looks bad. But we do have a training camp practice today. It looks like it's raining up there, so I don't know if it's going to get cut short or what. Couple other bits of news. The Colts are signing free agent cornerback Xavier Howard. According to his representative, the Colts have been beset a series of... Okay. Anyways, so he's going to the Colts. Wide receiver Isaiah Bond, who we talked about yesterday, is signing with the Browns, so he is officially off the market. However, wide receiver DJ Chark was just let go, so he is available. I don't think that's as good of an option. Number one, he was cut for a reason. It's not panning out very well. Number two, I just don't know that that's exactly what the Packers are looking for right now. Could be wrong. It's also possible that they pick him up just to be somebody sort of on the bottom end of the roster, just as a part of the roster churning process. And then as far as the Trey Hendrickson trade, apparently they're looking for, according to Diana Rossini now, a player and a first-round pick. And they said the player does not need to be a pass rusher. So if we go back to the Romeo Dobbs thing, I'm sorry for those of you that get annoyed by that example, but I just think it's, it's an example. I don't know. I pick wide receiver because we have so many, and I pick Dobbs because he at least has some value, and there's some reason to believe that he could be traded. I don't know that you can make a great argument for it. I'm not saying we should. That's just why I just keep throwing it out there. But the bottom line is, I just don't see it. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think anybody sees it. I think if that was a good asking price, a deal would have been done by now. I just don't think anybody wants to give up. I think for a lot of fans, the picks are easy to give up. They just don't care about picks very much. But I think as far as the NFL is concerned, especially the Packers, the first-round pick is significantly more difficult to part with than the player. There's just so much value in it, and you can talk about, well, look at the hit rate. I understand that, but it's the hit rate times however many years. There's still a lot of value in it. So, again, I don't see the Packers doing it. I don't see apparently anybody doing it right now. Nobody seems to be jumping at that opportunity, especially considering it's not just that. You have to give up a player, and you have to give up a pick, and the guy wants top dollar. He wants, it's somewhere between $30 and $40 million a year for the privilege of playing. That's just too much. And so it kind of becomes this thing where I don't think anybody wants to meet the Bengals' price. I don't think the Bengals are going to want to give him up for much less than that. But they also don't seem to want to pay him, so I don't know what we do here. I don't know. But I don't think he ends up in Green Bay is really all I can say. Anything's possible, but that's where I'm at with it. I'm sure most people would agree that they don't expect him in Green Bay. I'll be honest, I didn't even know the final score was 38-0. I stopped watching after those two drives. I watched a half a drive with the Bears offense without Caleb, and I was like, I don't need to do this to myself. So I just turned it off. I will say, I think that this is kind of fantastic insofar as, look, the Bears might be good. I don't know. But what I'm happy about is whatever amount of Bears fans that started to feel like maybe this isn't going to work, it's dead now. They are all in. They're excited. I know that that's what's happening right now. The coaching staff and they have 100,000% changed this offense, and everything's about to change for the better. The other great thing about it is I need all the pissy Packer fans to tell me that the Bills are dog crap. Because remember, the preseason, it super matters. I don't want to hear about it's just preseason. I don't want to hear about that. Okay, fine. Then I want you to tell me that if it was Bears-Bills regular season, you would bet on the Bears. Bet a lot, in fact. In fact, you think that they should be the favorites, but you'd still bet on them. Or is that kind of stupid? Again, negative fans only apply that to the Packers. They wouldn't do that to the Bills. No, it's just preseason, doesn't mean anything. Josh Allen, they got a great coach, they got a great GM, they got the best quarterback in football, they got a great team. Everything's great over there, and nothing matters when they do bad. Just preseason, doesn't matter. Via Easton Butler, the Packers are signing safety Jalen Simpson per Bill Huber. Simpson was a 5th-round pick by the Colts in 2024, spent part of the offseason with the Jets. Doing a quick run through here, Jalen Simpson listed at 6'1", 178, pretty small dude. He has not participated in the preseason at all this year. Last year with the Indianapolis Colts, he had a 49 PFF grade, but that doesn't super tell the whole story because that was a 32 PFF grade in week 1, 28 grade in coverage. And then week 2 against Arizona, it was a 77. Week 3, it was a 66. So, pretty unusual being as small of a guy, but obviously the Packers saw something in him, so they decided to go ahead and take a swing. As far as him in college, he was there for, how old? Did they list how old he is? It says 25, so yeah, he's not the youngest guy, but 5 years at Auburn. First 2 years didn't play a ton. First year, basically not at all, 20 snaps. 2020, he played 200 snaps, and then it was 500, 500, 600, so he started playing around then. His first 2 years, 65, 61 when he wasn't playing very much. Then it went up to a 67 in his first year, 71, and then 77. His coverage grade in his final year was an 87.4. He allowed just 169 yards, which is quite low. Actually, he played safety. He played safety in college. Was that every year he played safety? No, he played corner the year before. Okay, whatever. Well, his final year of college, he played safety. So I don't know exactly what to do with that information. His big breakout year, he was a safety. But 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. The year before, which is probably a better view of what he did, unless they plan on making him a safety, 268 yards he gave up, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, 65.5 passer rating when targeted. And Bill Huber here, I guess he is. They are talking about him as a safety. That was in the Easton Butler thing too. But Bill Huber says it was a safety they signed with the Omar Brown injury. The unfortunate thing, I think they signed 2 people. The unfortunate thing is we had 90, and so 2 people are gone. Usually those are 2 people at the bottom of the roster. I am concerned, having not seen it yet, but I am concerned that the people that are going to be replaced are people that are going to be put on PUP list, IR, whatever. So we'll see the status of Omar Brown here. I see Green Bay Packers All-Pro safety Xavier McKinney is ranked 30th in the NFL Top 100 players. So weird considering the Packers don't have any blue chippers. They certainly don't have any All-Pros. 30th best player overall. Not 30th best safety, 30th best player. But yeah, I guess we just don't need to talk about that. Gutekunst never does anything. You never do anything. You never go get anyone. You never make any moves. We don't have any blue chips. We don't have any All-Pros. Bro, what team are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Via Ryan Wood, Romeo Dobbs has returned from his back injury, so that's fantastic. Jordan Love is practicing. He does still have a cast on his left hand, but he's out there with his red jersey and whatnot, so love to see that. Kyle Malzahn says he's not partaking in the start of practice, behind the team going through the motions on his own. Schneidman says Love is doing phantom handoffs and throwing while Malik Willis takes the first snap of the day. We'll see how limited he ends up being. Yeah, he's probably not going to take snaps. They don't want to jack up his thumb, but they could, hand him a football and let him throw it. Just don't need him under center. You know what I mean? That ball comes and smashes his thumb. Feels unnecessary. This is training camp 16, by the way, for those keeping score. There's a lot of buzz about the Patriots possibly going out and getting Trey Hendrickson. First of all, I think it's on nonsense. It's basically somebody asking, would you be willing to give up a first or second round pick if the player was right? And he essentially said, yeah, if the player's right, which is true for all 32 teams. But I just keep seeing, oh boy, he's going to the Patriots. That would be stupid. Like I said before, there's a huge list of teams that it would be stupid to go get Trey Hendrickson, and an extremely small group of teams that it kind of makes sense. You have to, number one, be a contender. You have to be. right now, today. You have to be a guy that's on the cusp, and you just want to try to get a little bit of help, getting over the top. You need some pass rush help. Maybe you got one guy, but you could use a second. Again, a team like Detroit, possibly. New England? No. No. I mean, by all means, go ahead and do it, but just how stupid. But I tell you what, let's, one thing real quick I forgot to mention yesterday. There are 4 players, not 3, that have had, in 2 preseason games, 2 good games. You would think it's not that hard to have 2 good games out of 2, but only 4 so far, and I want to go over who those 4 are, then we'll take a break, come back, rip through some more of these stats. I'm just see who's the worst of the group. Probably this guy. I want to try to go in some kind of an order here. So coming in 4th, Cornelius Johnson. Beyond a long shot, wide receiver, possible practice squad guy. 6'3", 208. He is a big dude. Let me go to his receiving stats just so we can kind of see that. He has had so far through the preseason, 72.6 PFF grade, 0 games below a 70, which is the criteria I'm using, 70.8 week 1, 70.7 on week 2. Receiving grade was a 69.9, call it a 70, and then 70.7. So far, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards, 12.5 yards per reception. 1.72 yards per route run is not super fantastic. Hasn't had any contested catch opportunities, but a 108.3 passer rating when targeted. Last year, he was with the Chargers. He had a 53.8 grade and a 56.2 receiving grade. So a pretty big jump up. 1 more preseason game to go. If he can do this again, he's making a pretty strong case for himself. He did get a massive bump up in his opportunities from week 1 to week 2. Week 1, they only gave him 6 routes to run. This past week, 23. So he was out there a ton. He didn't super capitalize on it, but not terrible. I mean, 3 receptions is not a ton, but 4 targets, 3 receptions, 41 yards is not the worst. And again, I'm thinking he's going to get a bunch of opportunities again just based on what he's been doing. Next is Jordan Morgan, and it's a pretty big jump up to an 80.8 overall this season. Jordan Morgan is, or at least has been this to preseason, Rasheed Walker on somewhat of a higher level. Rasheed Walker, as I said, is like a 75 pass blocking, 60 run blocking type of guy, which is standard for the Packers, right? Really good pass blocking, at best run blocking. Week 1, 88 pass blocking grade, 67 run blocking. Week 2, 88 pass blocking, 65 run blocking. So very consistent, mid-60s run blocking, 88 pass blocking. So far, through 2 weeks, he has an 80 overall grade, 91 pass blocking grade, and a 68 run blocking grade. He has been involved in 38 pass blocking situations, has given up 0 sacks, 0 hits, and 0 hurries so far. So, entirely too early to make any sweeping decisions or anything, but as far as what does he need to do if he's actually going to win that left tackle job over Rasheed, I think we're seeing him do it. The biggest thing is do it again for a 3rd time, and if you want to throw a little extra spice on it, let's bump up that run blocking just a touch. In 3rd place, running back Amar Johnson. Week 1, 7 rushes for 67 yards, 9.6 yards per attempt, and a touchdown, 79 overall grade, 82.8 rushing grade. Against the Colts, 7 attempts, 22 yards, 3.1 yards per attempt, and a touchdown, 72.2 overall, 73.3 rushing grade. So far, through 2 weeks, 80.8 overall grade, 85 rushing grade. He has a pretty remarkable 5.71 yards after contact per attempt, 4 missed tackles forced, 39 yards is his longest rush. He has 2 carries over 10 yards, 2 over 15 yards. His elusiveness rating is a 152.4, which I still don't know what that means, but it's a number for you if you're interested. Amar Johnson has looked pretty fantastic. He is a 2025 UDFA, so I would not be shocked if he ended up on the practice squad this year. I'd be pretty stoked about it. He's a little smaller for what the Packers tend to like at 5'10", 205, but he is making it work. And then The final and the best so far through the preseason has been Tyron Hopper. He's been playing weak side linebacker. Week 1, 88.6 grade, 79.6, call it 80 run defense, 82 tackling, 76 coverage grade. Week 2, 74 overall, 73 run defense, 75 tackling, 68 coverage. Through 2 weeks, 86 overall, 83 run defense, 83 tackling, and 75 coverage. He's made 6 tackles, 4 assists, 4 stops. He's been targeted twice, 1 target for just 1 reception on those 2 targets for just 5 yards. 0 touchdowns, interceptions, or pass breakups, 56.3 passer rating when targeted, 0 penalties, and a massive step up from last year in the offseason. He had a 50 PFF grade, 60 run defense, 65 tackling, and 53 coverage. So it is a massive improvement of about 20 to 30 PFF points in every single category. So with Simmons completely falling off a cliff, and I think the Welch thing is way too high, especially with Tyron Hopper being a third-round pick, kind of coming into exactly what they wanted him to be. I'm feeling much more confident that this is going to be our third linebacker. We'll see, though. I mean, McDuffie's got a pretty good, strong hold on it. But I do think the Packers want their draft pick to be the guy. I think they took him in the 3rd round because they believe he has a much higher ceiling than a guy like McDuffie. Otherwise, I don't know why you would draft him in the 3rd. Has he done enough, even if he does it a 3rd time, to definitively give him the job? I don't know. But I think Simmons we can scratch. I think Welch, again, I think that hype is a little bit of fluff. And I think with McDuffie, again, I think they want somebody to come in and replace him. It's just a question of whether they're going to trust it week 1 or maybe they're going to rotate a little bit or slowly ease him in. I don't really know, but I think the redshirt year thing for Tyron Hopper is over, and I think we're going to see him this year. Pretty excited about it, to be honest. All right, let's take our first break. We will be right back with some more notes. Let's see. Packers protecting Jordan Love's left thumb as much as possible with the help of quarterbacks coach Sean Mannion. Xavier McKinney is working off to the side with a trainer and doing back pedals with his helmet on. Not fully returned, but a good sign for the NFL's 30th best player. Can report Jordan Love's right hand looks just fine. Drilled the net on his first rep in the net drills. Packers released Garnett Hollis and waived injured Keith Randolph. Okay, so obviously not great news for those two, but again, I was kind of questioning, is this going to be bottom of the roster churn, or is somebody going to be, probably not Marshawn Lloyd, but maybe, some of the guys that got recently hurt, I was just nervous that maybe they're going to get shut down. But this is essentially roster churn. Keith Randolph sounds like was injury related, but still, that's that. Did we ever talk about who the other guy we signed was? I don't think so yet, but I'm guessing that'll come and we'll be able to talk about him. All right. Jordan Love taking snaps from a stool. That's pretty funny. So the helper is, setting the ball on the stool, and Jordan just picks it up with his right hand? I appreciate it, man. I mean, get as much work as you can with putting, essentially zero risk or close to zero risk on that other hand. Got some footage of Packers' new safety, Jalen Simpson, out there doing work. Xavier McKinney has his helmet on, running on the side with the trainer. First time we've seen that with his calf injury. The NFL apparently has a new deal with Crocs, so if you want to get some Packers Crocs, that's a thing. To be honest, I got my first pair of Crocs ever, like a few months back. I remember the first time trying them several years ago, and I thought it was the dumbest freaking thing in the world. They look like plastic shoes. Like, how in the world would anybody want to wear that? I tried it on. I was like, this is actually kind of comfortable, as weird as that seems. And it is nice being able to just slip in and out of stuff. I have, slippers that I can slip on and off, but they're not as good, like for going out in the grill and stuff. First of all, the clothy fabric is not great for winter. Not that Crocs would be either if there was, deep snow. But they're not meant to really get wet, including the bottoms. Also, the inside can get kind of dirty if you're just slipping your feet in and out of them, And I'm not putting socks on for my slipper. If I'm putting socks on, I'll just slip my shoes on. So from a functional standpoint, I don't mind me some Crocs. And if I didn't already have some, Packers Crocs would be on the list of things that I want. All right, here is our injury list. New Packers added to the DNP's list: Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, Aaron Banks, Jacob Monk, Marshawn Lloyd, Barron Sorrell, and Omar Brown. We knew the final three. Also got Monk, Banks, Van Ness, and Kenny Clark. I don't know what possibly could have happened. They didn't even play. They twist their ankle frickin' sitting on the bench or what? Still not practicing: Watson, Reed, Wicks, Hobbs, McKinney, Anderson, Oliver, Williams, and Williams. J. Williams and S. Williams. I mean, it is getting extensive. Knock on wood, we're still not talking about, it's hard to even say that, the most important players. I mean, McKinney is obviously pivotal, but he's not expected to be super long-term. Watson is obviously important, but is what it is. Kenny and Van Ness are pretty important, so we're kind of crossing that threshold too, where it's not only a lot, but it's starting to become players that I really don't think it's going to be hard to put your best foot forward without them. Let's just leave it at that. Clark, Van Ness, and Banks all have back injuries. What are you guys doing? You guys giving each other piggyback rides or what? Knock it off. I can't forget Jordan Love's hand is in a cast, so I guess with that, it's all of our most important people. Okay. Return to practice: Romeo Dobbs, Jordan Love. Romeo Dobbs also back injury, so I don't know what the heck is going on. Some kind of a weird initiation ritual. Kingsley and Igbare getting the start for Lucas Van Ness. I think it's well earned considering how he's done the last couple weeks. Wooden is first up for Kenny Clark. Starting offensive line: Walker, Morgan, Jenkins, Ryan, and Tom. So Walker's getting the nod at left tackle with Jordan Morgan at left guard. I suppose it makes sense. I mean, it is a competition between Walker and Morgan, but with the guard out, I wouldn't mind, I mean, Belton would be super ideal, but why not have Morgan in there doing some cross-training, and then you can just kind of swap them when the time comes. Jenkins, Ryan, Tom, starting to feel like that is solidified as what we're going to be doing here. I don't know. I think we'll just leave it at that. It's going to be either Morgan or Walker, followed by Banks, Jenkins, Ryan, Tom is very certainly what's going to be for this year. Jordan Love not participating in team periods. Kyle Malzahn says Noah's Ark or Packers training camp. It is a complete downpour. Edgerrin Cooper with a near pick of Willis. He had a fantastic coverage of Kraft down the sidelines. Romeo Dobbs with a big drop over the middle from Willis. Looked like he had one earlier along the sideline as well. Weather certainly a factor right now, but drop issues remain. Brian Wood confirms Romeo has had 2 dropped passes in the first team period, I'm guessing. Of course, there's also a torrential downpour right now, so context matters. Stafford officially back at practice. He must have had sufficient drugs pumped into his spine. A couple of updates here. Cornelius Johnson continues to impress. Nice catch over the middle from Elgersma. Josh Jacobs had a couple really nice runs down the right sideline earlier. We've had a fumble exchange and a false start on the offense already. Fantastic play by Jamon Johnson running down the field in coverage on Shepard to break up a pass deep down the left sideline. Brandon McManus goes 3 for 3 in the wind and rain. The guy is unstoppable. I'm just worried he's using up all his juju in the frickin' offseason. Rain has let up some, but still plenty wet as McManus drains 3. It was from XP 45 right and 47 right. He is now 64 of 68 since camp opened. Matt LaFleur, in his own words, despises 7-on-7, but the Packers are currently doing it to get Jordan Love throws outside routes on air. Also looks like he's wearing a small plastic bag on his left hand to protect the thumb wrap in the rain. Love running the offense with the ones in 7-on-7, as Matt LaFleur suggested yesterday. Love hits Dobbs twice short, then throws to Hardman, but the ball hangs up in the wind and rain, and Valentine was able to swat it away. Hardman has a good step on 24. Next play, he rifles one to Heath over the middle with Nixon in coverage. Ryan Wood says Jordan Love goes deep to Mecole Hardman in 7-on-7, and Javon Bullard picks it. Next play, he checks down to Jacobs, who has the ball, goes off his hands right into the hands of Tyron Hopper, but Jacobs becomes the DB and bats it out incomplete. Love finds Kraft over the middle for a nice pickup on the next play. McManus is punting during the special teams period. Brandon McManus is a heck of a kicker. He is not a punter, getting some emergency work in, and it's not the most aesthetically pleasing experience. Ryan Wood says, update, Daniel Whalen's job is very safe. All right, let's take our final break. We'll rip through the last of these, do a quick Micah Parsons update, and we'll see where that leaves us. We'll be right back. Romeo Dobbs with a nice adjustment on a back shoulder throw from Malik Willis. Good coverage from Carrington Valentine, but a better throw and catch for about 20 yards down the left sideline. Ryan and Tom open up a nice right by Chris Brooks. Nice hole on the right, presumably. Carrington Valentine all over a trick play to Wilson. Mosby with a pressure on Willis. With Sorrell and Oliver still not practicing, Mosby has a legit shot to make this team, especially with how much he plays special teams. Browns are naming Joe Flacco as their Week 1 starter. This is a controversy in some people's minds. I don't see how it could possibly be a controversy. McManus makes 3 more, 44 left, 46 left, 49 right. He is now 67 of 71 since camp began. Much better kicker than punter. They're just going to lean into that joke. That is, for reference, 94.4%. Not too shabby. In 7-on-7, Jordan Love throws a perfect pass to back left corner end zone to Matthew Golden in double coverage against Javon Bullard and Evan Williams. Pretty ball for about a 15-yard touchdown. I'm assuming that means it was caught. Let's see. Malzahn says Jordan Love just threw a dime to Matthew Golden, corner of the end zone, floated it perfectly past Evan Williams and Javon Bullard. Great job by Golden to get 2 feet in, put it only where Golden could get it. Rain and all, that was pretty. What a throw catch in 7-on-7. Golden in the extreme back corner of the end zone, and Love could not have possibly placed it any better for the touchdown against Williams and Bullard. Perfect throw. Love finds Golden again after 2 pump fakes. Golden gets open and catches against Haddon. Love took lots of time, and Haddon had pretty great coverage throughout. Love almost picked by Hopper, who had great coverage on Musgrave. Evan Williams picks Love in the back of the end zone to end practice. Evan Williams closes practice, cutting in front of Tucker Kraft in the end zone to intercept Jordan Love behind the defense. Jeff Hafley raises his arms in triumph before gesturing his satisfaction to the Packers offense. That's good stuff. Rasheed Walker quote on Anthony Belton's flags. He says, everyone was saying something to him. I feel like he got the message. I think I just gave him a snack to clear his mind. Just eat this clementine, man. Just refocus. It's all good. And that's when he had a good second half. Love how he credits himself for giving him a clementine. Justin Jefferson will practice in part of practice today, Kevin O'Connell said. First time since the second day of training camp. Malik Willis asked if your left hand factors into the throwing process. He says, not at all. If it does, you're probably a left-handed quarterback. Other than that, you're probably good. So there you go. And then this is the final thing that I wanted to get to today. Ian Rappaport, it looks like filling in for Pat McAfee's 44-second long clip. Here you go.
I would expect that the Packers would be among the teams interested. And I would say I would expect the Packers would be among the teams really interested.
Okay.
They have paid Jordan Love. They have a bunch of really good young players, but they haven't. There's some guys like Quay Walker they have not paid. Zach Tom they paid, but they have money to spend, and they are really good. And so like that's the kind of team that I would say if Micah was going to be traded that he'd be going to, because it's like we need one final piece. This guy is an absolute dog. He's worth all the money, so pay him all the money. Mm-hmm. I mean, God only knows what Mulugeta would make that contract. It'd be all of it. Mm-hmm. But it'd be worth it because you'd get Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm.
So it's important to play that clip because, I mean, most people are getting it right that it's not really a massive, it's not a report, it's an opinion. But also, very importantly, he didn't say, I expect the Packers to be the team that he would go to if he were to go somewhere. He said that's the kind of team I would expect him to go to. And he listed out the criteria of what you would expect from a team. So in other words, every team that fits that criteria is the kind of team that I would expect him to go to if he were to get traded. That's really all that it was. And the reason the Packers were brought up is because he was prompted with the Packers. Would the Packers be? I didn't hear the exact question, but I know they got a Packers guy there, so he always asks things about the Packers, which I appreciate, making everything Packers-centric. But just to be very clear on that, not that anybody would believe it if he said it anyways. And I'm seeing a lot of comments about, well, you must not know the Packers then. It's like, I don't think you know the Packers. Packers 1,000% would be interested in Micah Parsons and 1,000% would be willing to give up quite a bit to go get a guy like Micah Parsons. If you don't think they would, you're wrong. Plain and simple, you're just wrong. He is exactly the type of guy that the Packers like to go get because he is not only an elite player, but he is a long-term investment. That's the difference between him and Trey Hendrickson. That's why they went out and got Xavier McKinney. He is one of the top guys at the entire position and is young, and the Packers happily jumped all over that. Josh Jacobs, one of the best at the position, young guy, happily jumped all over that. I'm shocked of the very few, there were maybe 3 that year that were available, including Saquon. They got 2 out of 3. Worth noting. Tried yelling at the cricket to get him to shut up. He does not care. He's over there busy making his own noises. Doesn't care if I yell at him. But there you go. Ian Rappaport, obviously, with very little information on that situation, not even speaking very strongly in terms of whether he's going to get traded, much less where he's going to get traded. So everything you're hearing about that, the needle hasn't moved an inch. No matter where the needle was in your mind, it's exactly in that exact same spot after this comment. You don't need to readjust, recalibrate. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Going to be, again, no Packernet After Dark. Lacking some calls, so get your calls in, 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. You know the whole thing. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.